Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video I wanted to make an updated wishlist guide now that we have a lot more heroes in the game than ever before. Also, I'm going to try to break it down with a Paragon priority for each of the different factions because this is something that a lot of people have been asking for. Okay, I'm going to lead it off, and now because there are a lot of heroes in the game, I honestly feel like, especially if you're a new player beginning now, you're going to have to completely pass on building up certain heroes and just try to build up the most meta and most relevant heroes, and then eventually unlock Paragon and try to upgrade the best PvP heroes. Okay, so for the Lightbearer factions to begin with, for the S levels, you need to have Sonya in here. There's no question about that. She is the most important Lightbearer S level hero out there because of how good she is for Dream Realm. For PvP, she's like not amazing. You can use her there, but really it's Dream Realm where she shines. But she is so important for a lot of bosses. For the other hero, honestly speaking, out of all of these heroes, Temesia has some use in AFK stages, Rowan has good use in AFK stages, and can even be used in PvP. Vala is like a PvP hero, and Cassidy is very niche, like for specific bosses, or not really Dream Realm. She's not really used, like for Ravage Realm and things like that. So it would be between Rowan or Temesia, in my opinion. Temesia used to be good in some Dream Realm bosses, but these days she's just not a good, like the top tier option anymore. Her and Merrily and Corrin, they all were pretty good or decent in Dream Realm, and now they've kind of fallen off and are not the best options. I would keep Rowan here in my opinion, but you can just remember the things I said about the other heroes, and I would probably upgrade Rowan all the way up to Supreme Plus, because someone actually mentioned the AFK stage video I uploaded earlier today, which is that without Rowan maxed out Supreme Plus, he's still having some difficulty clearing stages. I think just maxed out Rowan, he can be useful in PvP as well. I like him overall as a hero, and I think he's just really solid. Now for the A levels, this is where things are really interesting and very different from before. I think you need to have Sinbad after you guys have seen his recent performance in Dream Realm, but keep in mind it's only for pre-endless bosses where Sinbad is good, but he's kind of taken the place of Merrily and Corrin. Merrily and Corrin have completely kind of fallen off, because if you have heroes like Lily May and now Sinbad for pre-endless and then other damage dealers, Odie, you don't really use Corrin and Merrily anywhere anymore. And so those heroes can be kind of skipped, at least for right now. And then Hugin as another hero, because Hugin is a hero which is actually seeing some use for Dream Realm. He's useful in AFK stages with the twins. I think overall also, as we continue to go on in the future of AFK Journey, he always has that unique role of providing a mechanized bond buff to the ally 1 tile behind him. I think that has a lot of like applications in the future. I think he's kind of a bit of a future-proof hero. So I would say Sinbad and Hugin, honestly, from my A-level Lightbearer wishlist, but after that you could also work on like Corrin and Merrily if you want to be sure, because maybe there could be, like for Ravage Realm especially, they are pretty good, so I would probably recommend those two next after these, and then after that you can go for Lucius or Luca after that as well. Now as for the Paragon priority for the Lightbearer heroes, in the A levels, there's not any major Paragon priority you would want, honestly. I would say Hugin potentially, it seems like he has the most future PvP uses of any hero because of his mechanized bond buff that he can provide to an ally. For the S levels, I think if you go for Vala, she is a good PvP hero. Otherwise, Sonya and Rowan can both be Paragon upgraded. I think Sonya isn't amazing in PvP, but I think that as more heroes get added, especially with certain faction talents, she can synergize well. I do think in the future she will be good to have at Paragon, and Rowan always is pretty decent for PvP. So those would be my big three that I would recommend for the Lightbearer faction. Now for the Maulers, we have for the S level Maulers, there are going to be two heroes you need on here first. I know Shakira is very important, but honestly speaking, Smokey and Mikola are way more important on your account than Shakira. Shakira comes after you've kind of built up these two, then you want to get Shakira in there as well. But these three Maulers are going to be your big three heroes for Dream Realm. Smokey deals really good damage in endless bosses, and before that attack buff and healing is good. Mikola, great attack buff for your team and the haste buff, and a little bit of damage. Shakir for his amazing attack buff, especially when he gets his charms and on a grouped up team. He's crazy. So Shakira, eventually you're going to need to upgrade. So all of these heroes, Smokey, Mikola, Shakira, try to get them all to Mythic Plus as quickly as you can. And then try to get them eventually to Supreme Plus. The only other thing to mention here for the S levels of Maulers is Brutus is a good option as well to get like one copy of him to help you push AFK stages early on. It can help you a lot. So I would probably keep Brutus on the wishlist along with Smokey. Both are good for AFK stages early on. As soon as you get one copy of Brutus, swap him out for Mikola and begin building up Mikola. Now the other S level Maulers, forget about them. Elsa, Reese, Lumont. These are luxury heroes to build up, and really, yeah, they're fine, but they're not so needed in any point of the game. And so I would like just try to get the other heroes, basically these four I mentioned, mainly the three of Smokey, Mikola, Shakir, up to Supreme Plus as quickly as you can. So it will begin with Brutus. I'll leave it like that. For the A levels, it's really, you have to have OD until he's Supreme Plus maxed out. He's really good for pre-endless Dream Realm bosses. He's really good for AFK stages. And for the other hero, it has to be Coco. Coco is really good for Dream Realm. The sooner you can get her to Mythic Plus for her shielding, the more value, basically more survival your team will have with her in the team. So this is going to be your Mauler wishlist. As soon as one copy of Brutus, you swap him out for Mikola, like we said. And then as soon as Mikola or Smokey is at Mythic, Mikola really wants Supreme Plus. When Smokey's at Mythic Plus, then swap him out for Shakir and get Shakir up to Mythic Plus. And then you're looking in really good shape. Now, as for Paragon upgrades, I would say Shakir, because he's good in PvP. I would also say Mikola. I think she's pretty good in PvP. And you can even do Smokey. Now, Smokey isn't amazing for PvP. He was pretty good in the previous season, Waves of Intrigue, where we had the Mauler faction talents. This season, he isn't going to be as good because his issue is when he's not unaffected, then he can keep getting controlled, and then he gets interrupted in his casting. That is a big issue. So Smokey isn't amazing in PvP, but if you upgrade him in Paragon levels, it will help his damage a little bit in Dream Realm, but it is only like by 2.5% of his attack from the basic stats you would increase. The rivalry stats are not benefiting him that much because he's not great in PvP. So, yeah, I mean, you could upgrade Smokey to Paragon, but I would say Shakir and Mikola are more of a priority. Even Brutus, I would say, is a reasonable priority because he's a good tank that you can use in a lot of your teams. If you want to build Elsa, some people like Elsa in PvP. Personally, I don't feel like she's such a game-changing hero. She can be fine, but there are a lot of heroes which can be fine. There are a lot of heroes which you could upgrade to Paragon, but like basically, you can consider Elsa as a Paragon upgrade if you are able to, but I would put it down the priority list of the different S-level Maulers we have. And for the A levels is going to be OD, Coco. You're going to want to take both of them to Supreme Plus and then switch them out and build up other heroes. Kruger is good for some Dream Realm bosses. Apart from that, Entendre can help in a couple of AFK stages, but you can even use Brutus in place of Entendre for a lot of teams, or sometimes you use both of them. But that is basically it. And as for Paragon upgrades, I would really say OD and Coco. These are two really good PvP heroes. The other heroes down here, if you want, you can upgrade Seth, Soren, they're good in PvP, but like I wouldn't make it a huge priority of upgrading them. Like, in my opinion, I think OD is the number one to upgrade for the A levels to Paragon, and then Coco number 2, because these are the most overall dominant heroes in the game. Okay, taking a look at the Wilders. So for the Wilders, you have to have Iron to begin with, and also you have to have Lily May, because Lily May is good for Dream Realm as a damage dealer up until you have other options built up, and it will take you a while to build up other things. So Iron and Lily May have to be your two heroes that you have here. First of all, as soon as you get them to Mythic Plus, or I like Lily May to Supreme Plus for maximum stats for Dream Realm, then you can begin swapping out. And you can swap out for Tassi. She is really good in PvP, but that is her main use. A little bit of use in AFK stages. Or you could even swap out for... I mean, the other heroes here, you want to eventually build up Haywin on your account because she's a good healer. You can even Paragon upgrade Haywin. She's good in a lot of teams for PvP. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. And Floribel, honestly, I don't think is so important to upgrade, even upgrade to Paragon. You can honestly even skip Floribel, honestly. She's useful for some AFK stages, but very few of them. And for PvP, she's fine, but she's, again, just like a fine hero, like we've mentioned before. It isn't going to be a must-have. And so, yeah, that is my opinion on that. And that's coming from someone who has Paragon 2 Floribel and made it a priority. I just don't think she is the most impactful hero to have like upgrade on your account. For the A levels, you're going to have to go with Almas for your AFK stage pushing, getting him to Mythic Plus as quickly as you can, and then also go for Arden. Because for the AFK stage pushing team, Iron, Almas, Arden, those are the core that you will be using. And then on top of that, you can use Rowan, like we have up above, and you can use another Graveborn like Carolina, Bonnie, you can use Tossie, you can use a lot of things. But yeah, this is the major thing. Once you have both of these guys to Mythic Plus, then you can swap out for Damien. Damien is a really good support. You will eventually want to get him and also upgrade him even into Paragon, but I would probably keep Almas and Arden here at least until they're Mythic Plus, maybe even beyond that. Now, as for other Paragon upgrades for the Wilders, the A levels, Arden is good in PvP. Even Almas can be good in the Iron comp, so like upgrading his Paragon now with the Inspiration Intimidation stats can be useful. And then Damien, but Damien I think is overall more important. Damien is one of the best supports for PvP because he can keep respawning his Toy Chariot, so upgrading his Paragon level is going to help your whole team with the Inspiration and Intimidation, so I would make it a priority to upgrade Damien as well. Now the other heroes here, Lenya is a big priority to upgrade to Paragon as a damage dealer. Lenya is really good in PvP. Even in this season on the Wilder faction talent tile, she is good because getting concealed from the beginning of the match, also getting boosted non-ultimate damage. That's perfect for Lenya because she hits really hard with her non-ultimate based skills right from the beginning of the match. So Lenya is great to have and also build her up. In my opinion, I would really recommend you Paragon upgrading her, but for me personally, I'm kind of far behind on her. I've just recently gotten her to Supreme Plus, so I've kind of like just left her there rather than trying to build her up. So like, I don't think she's a major priority. Like if you're so far behind, you can let go of her and just keep working on your other heroes in Paragon upgrades, but she would be really nice to have as a Paragon upgrade. And if, for example, my Lenya were Paragon 1 or even Paragon 2 now, I would keep upgrading to Paragon 3 and keep going, but because she's so far behind, I feel like it would take too long to kind of build her up, so I've kind of put her like I've put her on hold basically. But Lenya is a big priority. The other heroes here, Laika, is if you have a diurnal comp and you want to run Laika in it, now because of Inspiration Intimidation, you'll want to have Laika Paragon upgraded, but that's basically the only condition. If you don't run diurnal, then there's no reason to upgrade Laika to Paragon tiers. Parissa, you can run her in the Iron Almas new comp, even in PvP, so upgrading a Paragon can be good for that. But that is basically my opinion on that. For the S levels, Granny, I would not recommend upgrading to Paragon. Brian as well, and Floribel. I think Granny, Brian, Floribel, leave them. You can even, like, you can slowly build them up or not really even focus on building them up. These are not super game-changing heroes. Haywin, I would build up. Tossie, I would definitely build up for PvP. And that is basically my opinion about that for the Wilders. And you can Paragon all four of them, like Iron, Lily May, Tossie, and Haywin. Okay, finally we are up to the Graveborn. So for the Graveborn, the thing is, you definitely want to have Thorin here. He can be helpful for Dream Realm early on. He's also really good for PvP. Ludovic, the thing is, Ludovic is really good for Dream Realm. So honestly, I would probably have Ludovic in here, and I would like basically try to get around not building Carolina, because traditionally, you would have Carolina on this wish list along with Thorin, and then that will enable your AFK stage pushing team, which would be Iron, Almas, Arden, Carolina, and maybe Rowan. But I think Ludovic is really important for endless Dream Realm bosses. He's also really good in PvP. He's overall a better hero than Carolina, but then you're not able to run that comp. However, the thing is, with that comp, you don't have to run Carolina. Instead of Carolina, you can run Bonnie in the team, and it also works out pretty well. So that is coming to our A levels. So for the A levels, Bonnie is going to be a hero you want to run. But actually, just talking about the S levels, after you're done with Thorin or Ludovic, or maybe even getting them to Mythic Plus, I would swap them out for Carolina, because I do think still Carolina is going to be a staple unit for your account for AFK stage pushing. Upgrading her in Paragon tier like I've done here, honestly, it isn't too useful. I'm not even using her on any of my Supreme Arena defenses right now. It's really awkward to use Carolina because you need a kind of user in the Iron new comp, but if you're running that on defense, the opponent just has to bring Lily May, and then your whole plan is like ripped to shreds, right? Because they're going to interrupt your Iron, and then what's going to happen? You're just going to get nuked because Carolina doesn't have any survivability. She's a mage in the back. That is the issue, right? So overall, that is kind of the problem with Carolina. Like, she just doesn't fit in a comp well anymore. But Thorin and Ludovic, you will always be able to find a home for them on one of your Supreme Arena defenses. Both are really strong PvP heroes. So, but Carolina is good for AFK stages. So I would still recommend eventually building Carolina after Thorin and Ludovic, or one of them is up to Mythic Plus, and then get Carolina up to Mythic Plus as well, and then you can just begin Paragon upgrading your Thorin and Ludovic. That is my opinion. And then for the A levels, Sylvina is so Bonnie, definitely. There's no question Bonnie. And the thing is, we're going to be getting Velka on rated recruitment, and then eventually on the wish list, and then it will probably be Velka and Bonnie. Because basically from the A level Graveborn factions, no hero is really a priority. Sylvina can be good for PvP, but really only on offense. On defense, she has issues because the opponent knows exactly where she's jumping and they can counter you. That being said, I am running Sylvina on my defense, but that's Supreme Arena defense, but that's only because I don't have any other high Paragon upgraded hero. I really wish I didn't have to run Sylvina, but I just kind of have to. Yeah, but yeah, so Sylvina, I guess, will be on here, and Bonnie definitely. Bonnie for PvP is amazing. Bonnie for AFK stages has usage, and overall, she's just a really good hero. You could even maybe not run Sylvina and go for Viperon instead, but Viperon just doesn't have really any uses either. He's kind of okay in PvP, but he's just not a top tier option, and so not really recommended. So for the Paragon upgrades here, Thorin, Ludovic are your two key Paragons for the S levels, and then for your A levels, Bonnie, definitely, and then I guess also Sylvina along with that. But you can, of course, like, when we talk about Paragon upgrades, I'm just going to save this so you can see it right now. Yeah, save it. When we talk about Paragon upgrades, it is going to only be possible after you get 25 heroes upgraded to Supreme Plus first of all. So you will have to get 25 heroes upgrades to Supreme Plus. But I think with all the different options I mentioned here, you should be getting 25. Just on this wish list alone, we have 16 different heroes. So you only need 9 more to make it up to the 25, and that is really important. If you're coming into this game right now, or like you're a newer game player, it's really important you only invest and build up the heroes which are the top tier. Forget about the other heroes. Don't try to build up every hero to Supreme Plus. It just won't be possible anymore. But like, let's say you got the Shakir and Brutus upgraded, right? And then we said also Kruger on Tundra. That's already 4 more heroes right there. We're up to 20. Here you get maybe Temesia. Here you get Corin Merrily. Here you get Damien and Lenya. Yeah, you're gonna have well over 25 Supreme Plus heroes, even with all the recommendations I gave so far. And then you're gonna unlock Paragon. But it's really important, just focus on those key heroes I mentioned. Do not try to upgrade all the other heroes. I know you might lose out a bit on Ravage Run right now, but the thing is, as time goes on, new heroes are gonna be added into this game, and the older heroes are gonna be phased out, and they're not even gonna be usable in Ravage Realm anymore. So you need to focus on the heroes which are just the strongest, and that is basically this wish list as well as the other mentions that I talked about. So I'm really happy with this wish list. You guys can take a like a screenshot of it, or you can have an idea. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about the epic recruitment. So for the epic recruitment, you're going to need to focus your Dream Realm heroes first of all. So Lily May definitely has to be on here. Mikola and Smokey, they have to be on here. There's no question about that. Now the question is for Thorin. Now Thorin is a pretty good hero, and honestly, until he's Mythic Plus, I would probably consider keeping him on here because he's good for Dream Realm as well. He causes the boss to take increased damage, which is really helpful in the early game. Ludovic is good for Dream Realm, but the thing is, he's good for Endless Dream Realm only. And also, like, I don't know how good he's gonna be if you don't have other heroes built up, other key heroes built up on your team. So eventually, you will want to put Ludovic on here, but I don't think I want to put him on right away. But I do think you want to have Shakir on here right away, because as soon as you can get Shakir to Mythic Plus, upgrade to plus 10 exclusive equipment, it's a huge upgrade for your like Dream Realm performance. And like Mikola, Smokey, Lily May, these are all the key Dream Realm heroes. And then Thorin. Oh, actually no, we have to put Sonya on here. How can I forget? So I guess it can't be Thorin, it has to be Sonya. Yeah, I think this has to be it, because Sonya is so dominant in Dream Realm as well. These are the heroes you have to build. I really wish there was a space for Thorin, but honestly speaking, I don't think there's any room for him. And see how I haven't even focused Iron, I haven't focused other heroes. Iron would help you begin AFK stage pushing faster, but the thing is, you're also limited by Ulmus, right? Ulmus needs to get to Mythic Plus before the Iron comp really takes off. And so you still need to wait for that, and so like waiting for the Iron and Ulmus together in the regular wishlist is also fine. So I think this is what I would do. These are your Dream Realm heroes. Focus on that. It will allow you to rank higher in Dream Realm, earn more temporal essences. That is basically the reason why the recommendations are to focus Dream Realm and prioritize those heroes, because your ranking rewards from your Dream Realm performance are better than any other game mode. Getting up to potentially 6 temporal essences every day, which is the most limited resource in the game for upgrading your heroes. It's like a really important thing to do. So this is what I would do for my epic recruitment wish list. And then finally we have the Stargaze Station. So in the Stargaze Station, I would just recommend you go for Freestro. Go for Freestro, and I say take him all the way to Supreme Plus. After Freestro is done, I would say go for the twins, Elijah and Lila, because they have been really dominant in pre-endless bosses, and most likely they will be very dominant in endless bosses. And go for the twins, take them all the way to Supreme Plus. Now, do not Paragon upgrade Celestial Hypogeans unless you are a heavy spender, and I mean like a really heavy spender. Now that you get rivalry stats from the beginning, just getting them up to Supreme Plus, you do not need to upgrade them to Paragon unless you're really trying to be hyper competitive in PvP. They're already going to be good enough at Supreme Plus. And the thing is, there's so many Celestial Hypogean heroes out there that if you, especially you're starting like more recently and you're a newer player, you're not going to be able to build up all of them, and you don't have to build up all of them. I'm just going to say basically Freestro, Supreme Plus, Twins to Supreme Plus, Rainier to Mythic Plus. That would be my priority number 3. And then I would say you can just save for future Celestial Hypogeans, or if you really want to, you can go for Taline to Supreme Plus as well, because I think Taline is going to be the most future-proof. Harak already is kind of falling off pretty hard. He's really good for summon-oriented bosses like Plague Creeper or Skyclops last season, but other than that, he's not great. And the thing is, in the Primal Lords we have this season, doesn't look like either of them is a summoner. Like, we know Mirage Frostspike is not a summoner, and the other one, Nocturne Judicator, does not look like a summoner. And so then how is Harak going to be usable in future seasons? That's kind of the issue, right? So that is the thing. I would not recommend Harak at all right now. And even Taline, I would go for it only if if you don't want to save for the future, or if you have a lot of resources. But I do like Taline for PvP, and I think that she has some Dream Realm use as well. So overall, I do like Taline more than Harak. But then after that, I would stop. I would not keep going. But if you had to pick one after that, I would pick Harak. He is more meta than the other ones. And then if you had to pick one after that, I would probably pick Scarlita. But Scarlita honestly has really fallen off in PvP, so I can't really recommend that. But anyway, guys, hopefully this is helpful. You guys can share your thoughts with me in the comments section. What you think about this wish list. What would you do differently? If you have any other opinions or advice that can help other people, feel free to share it in the comment section. I'm sure other people will be able to benefit from that. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. And if you want to talk to me more, you can join my AFK Journey Discord server. But until the next video, guys, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.